Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 86 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. My name's Gage, and I'm here with Dan, of course. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's been a good week. Summer's coming to a close here, so I'll miss the summer. I'd be curious for those of you watching, how did your summer go, and what are your September plans? Are you planning anything new, exciting now that the summer's coming to a close? For anyone new here, Dan and I are the founders of StreamYard, and we do these every single week for a few reasons. One of those is to stay in tune with you guys. I know you guys are doing streams all the time, so it's good for us to go through the same process and see what you have to deal with on a weekly or maybe daily basis. And the other is to, of course, answer your questions, address your needs, and hear how things are going. And we always make sure to mention our pillars during these streams, which are ease of use, stability, and professional streams. So if you're about those three things, StreamYard is the tool for you. Let's check out the comments here, see who's tuning in. Brian, thanks for tuning in, always with the usual feature request. We appreciate the request, solo mode lock and audio only guest. We'll see what we can do here or do there.
Got it.
I guess just a couple points to make before I forget is we do have weekly shows. So we have StreamYard Spotlight Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, which is a show for you guys. It's where Dana and Kelsey interview users of StreamYard and all the awesome ways that they're having success with live streaming. So if you'd like to be featured on that show, be sure to reach out to Dana and Kelsey. They'd love to chat with you. And we, of course, have Ross Brand every single Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern for StreamYard Connect, which is a great show where he talks about the latest things going on in the tech world and just live streaming universe in general. So be sure to tune into that. And also, I mentioned it last week too, but we have lots of new content coming, or lots of new creators coming on board who will be doing some unique YouTube shows and Facebook shows. So if you have anything that you'd really like to see from those folks, do let us know. Tony's wanting the StreamYard merch. Good to know. Appreciate the suggestions. Hey, Consult a Blind Guy. Nice to have you here. We actually had a question last week that we forgot to get to. It was a question of whether or not we supported screen readers. You want to touch on that briefly, Dan?
Yeah. So I guess first thing, for anyone who doesn't know what a screen reader is, it's basically if you can't see or you have some kind of visual impairment, how do you actually use websites, right? So they have these screen readers. They're really advanced, and they basically just go through the page, and there's all these hotkeys you can use and stuff. And that does require like some stuff on our end or any website's end to code for it. So yeah, we've been pretty careful about that. It does work for screen readers. It's always getting better. Like, it's not perfect, but yeah, you should be fine using it on a screen reader. We have quite a few users actually that do it totally fine, and I play with it quite a bit just to make sure that it keeps. We don't add any features that don't work, right? So yes, pretty good support there.
Chicago just came from a virtual convention using StreamYard. Very cool. I'd be curious what the convention was about.
Sweet.
John Cran says, feature request, encore suggestion, pinning comments to show later. Been missing key comments each episode, so this will be extremely helpful. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely understand the need for that, John, especially with things like super chats, and it is on the list. One quick thing to mention, in case you missed it last week, we did announce it last week, but it wasn't actually available yet, is you now have the ability to change guest placements, which was one of our top feature requests. So I'll actually just play the video we made really quick so you have an understanding of what it actually looks like. Let me just play that here. Hey everyone, I just wanted to quickly demo a feature coming soon that was highly requested. So you can now go ahead and rearrange guests. I know this is the most popular layout for doing that. So as you can see, you can hover over the video tiles and drag and drop them into a new place. And now you can see Dan is now in the larger position. This is great if you want to highlight a particular guest who maybe is working on something and should be taking up a bigger part of the screen. And of course, it works in all layouts. So again, we can switch to a layout like this. And again, I can take on the other position there. So excited for you guys to try it out. It should be available shortly. Thanks. So last time I wasn't actually able to show you that live, but now I can actually show you live. So now you can see I can now drag myself to a new position here. And
much better.
Dan is in the host position. I know that many people like it for this particular view. So Dan can be in the larger position instead of me controlling the show all the time. So yeah, I'd be curious. we're always curious when people are using things in unique ways. So if there's an interesting use case that you're using that feature for, let us know. Like one thing I always thought was cool was how many people were wanting it for the 3D printing community. It seemed to be big because they'd basically have someone doing a demo on the 3D printer and they'd want them in the bigger box area. So let us know how things are going with that. If you've been able to use it in a cool way, we'd be curious to hear about it.
Sweet. Yeah, I imagine anything like 3D printing definitely makes sense, but also any sort of like art show, like sometimes, there'll be 3 or 4 people doing different art. I could see zooming in on one or the other, but not losing everyone. Like that was kind of the key thing, right? It's like, sure, you've always been able to solo somebody, so full screen somebody, but then you can't see everyone else. So it's nice to kind of have this balance now.
Sounds like people are a fan. Very cool. Chris with some kind words. Gage and the crew are tremendous. Can't wait for what the future holds. Where can I donate? There's definitely no need to donate. Just you guys just watching our town halls and using the product is all we can ask for, and we appreciate that. James Lynn tried it out. Very cool. Lugia says, when will you guys be able to provide links in private chat so we can click on them? Any idea when you will work on that? So Lugia, you should be able to. In the private chat. So I thought you were talking about the comments. So you can leave comments with links and people on Facebook and YouTube can watch them. But yes, in the private chat, they're not clickable. It's a relatively simple thing to add, but we'll see. Maybe in the future we can add that. Michael says, slow it down. Yeah. I think he's referring to the animation for the, okay.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I saw his comment earlier in the show. Fair enough. Yeah, so like, just slightly slower transitions around the page.
Headcast set up a virtual conference this week with StreamYard, and the new screen swap feature was key. Very cool. Yeah, I imagine for demos and stuff, it could be quite useful.
Cool.
Cynthia's a fan of the haircut. Good to know. I could use one myself for sure.
Yeah, it's tough with COVID, right? Like, you see everyone going around with hats on and stuff. Like, I'm just not gonna.
Actually, I heard about a funny startup around that. Was it went sort of viral. It was a site called like you probably need a haircut.com. And basically it was this this startup, I think it was a startup guy who communicated with a bunch of different stylists. I think it was in New York, and basically just made this quick startup to remotely connect stylists with people that probably needed a haircut at home so that they could like teach them how to cut their own hair over a call. So it's kind of cool.
Sweet. Yeah. Yeah. I imagine if you've got like some pretty fancy haircut, that's tough. Fortunately for me, it's pretty straightforward, simple, but
yeah, I feel like I'd probably mess it up if I was trying to do something fancy at home, highlights or something.
Yeah.
Katrine, or I think that's how you say it. Katrine says, want to move the location of screen share just like yes. Understood. Yeah. Right now you can move all the guests, but yes, the screen share sort of has its own unique position, but appreciate the feedback there. I'd be curious, Katrina, is there particular layouts where you'd want to do that? Like, I'm just interested what layouts it would be like would you want like a vertical screen? I'm curious which ones you'd actually use it for, or maybe all of them. Gleber says, is it possible to connect Blackmagic A10 Mini in StreamYard? Yeah, absolutely. And there's quite a few people doing that. Sorry, a loud vehicle came by. Hopefully it's not too loud. Nick Nimmin actually does a weekly show, and he uses the Blackmagic A10 Mini often with StreamYard. He does a really good job of it. He has like all these different camera angles, and he cuts to them, and he even has one angle where the camera's like slowly moving. So you can do some very fancy stuff with it if you're looking to do that. But yeah, you can definitely use it to answer your question. My Sky says, any chance to screen share from mobile devices soon? I don't have a date or anything, My Sky, but that certainly comes up a lot. So it's something we're looking into.
Yep.
And because are you a gamer? What kind of stuff are you screen sharing?
Yeah, our follow-up question is always like, are you actually streaming on your phone and you want to just share like whatever you're looking at? Or would it be okay if you can stream from your computer? Because one thing you can do is like screen share your phones. If you're playing a game or something, you can screen share that and like use something like Reflector 3. Not sure if you'll be able to get the audio. I think it depends. Like a Windows computer screen sharing, you should be able to get it. Mac, you might not be able to. But that's an option at least. But if you are on the phone, then there's not really a way to do it. Not yet.
Brian would like slower/adjustable scrolling text speed, as well as the ability for using spacebar to add distance between words and have it say, example, add 5 spaces between social media handles. I think we actually are adding spaces relatively soon, right, Dan?
Yeah, we're thinking about that one. And we did make it a bit slower. a little bit slower, like a few days ago. So
yeah,
let us know if it's slow enough now.
Yeah, so stay on the lookout for the spaces. Simon says, share screen is not ideal for sharing videos longer than 5 minutes. Please, can you extend the length of videos? Noted, Simon. Yeah, that's a common one that comes up, and we'll likely address that and add the ability to share videos directly from your hard drive, so they can be any length essentially, but not ready quite yet. Let me just quickly, there's lots of comments here, so let me quickly check back to the banners to make sure we don't, there's a few questions we really wanted to ask you guys, so let me just quickly touch on those before I go back to the comment section. One of those is that we're curious about your process. So like after your stream is over, you've just done your live stream, maybe it was just you, maybe you had a guest and you just completed the stream. What's your process immediately after the show? Like, do you immediately download the recording from StreamYard? Do you edit things, or do you not edit it at all? Do you do anything? Do you just end the stream and you're just done, and then you're set up for schedule your next week's show? We're just curious, like, what your process is and what tools are part of that process. Like, if you do use video editing software, what kind of editing software do you use? If you are repurposing the content and uploading it somewhere, where are you doing that? Are you putting videos on Instagram? Are you doing a podcast? We're just curious to all the things that happen right after your show to see if maybe we can, make things easier there. Another topic I wanted to ask you about was chatbots. So this used to come up a lot more frequently earlier, more in 2019, and then Facebook made some changes that made them less, I think, popular. But we're curious, like, how many of you are still using ManyChat's the most popular one, which is why I've left the name there. But I'm curious how many of you are using chatbots for your shows, and if you are using them for your shows, how are you using them? For example, the most common way. RJ Redden was always sort of the master of the chatbots. So if you're interested in learning more, you should check out her stuff. But I know in 2019, it seemed to be very common for people would basically have like a keyword that you could type in their post, and then you could get reminders over Messenger about their live streams. I'm not seeing it as much anymore, but I'm curious how many of you are doing that. And if you're not doing it, how many of you are interested in doing that type of stuff? Quickly check back to the comments here. Justin, hi guys, first time commenting. Well, we appreciate you commenting. We immediately download the recording to create recap videos and post them on Facebook. Right, that's the exact type of stuff we're interested in hearing. It's great to know how you guys are using it to see if we can do anything to help you out there. Luis says, downloads both combos and audio only, edit with Premiere Pro. Are there any plans to be able to download individual audio tracks from guests? That's another common one, Luis, especially from the podcasting community. So we are considering that.
And then I'd be curious, once you put it in Premiere, what do you then do with it? Like, where do you ultimately send it after?
Yeah, like what if it's a podcasting host platform? Yeah. Thanks, Ross. I download the StreamYard recording and then make clips to share on social in ScreenFlow. Also make a podcast from the audio. Cool, makes sense.
Sweet.
John Kranz using Camtasia. Edits out the beginning countdown. That makes sense.
Fair enough. Yeah.
That's good to know. That's interesting. Lugia says, can you add a studio? Like if we ever wanted to edit a video, like trimming it, if you make some sort of mistake, can you make a studio like YouTube Studio for example? Yeah, it's definitely something we've thought about. Lugia, we appreciate the feedback there. Don't have any formal dates or anything for you, but we appreciate the thoughts.
You can also just not make any mistakes, and then it's not a problem.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. That's one of the beautiful things about live, right? Is like as long as it's not a horrible mistake, I think people do appreciate that. Like,
yeah,
we're honest. But I get, when you want to post the recording somewhere, they don't necessarily know that it was live. So,
I guess I do have one follow up there, Lugia. Is how sophisticated of an editor would you want? Like, I haven't checked out the YouTube Studio editor in a while, but from what I remember from before, it's relatively basic. So is that all you would need? Is you did mention trimming. Is the only thing you'd really need is the trimming feature, or would you want like, some of the more advanced stuff that things like, Camtasia and these other things that are being mentioned have? We'd be curious. Jeremy says, most of the events I'm doing don't need to be edited after the live stream, but when I do, I use DaVinci Resolve. Cool. I'm not actually familiar with DaVinci Resolve.
Cool.
David edits his podcasts. That makes sense. I know lots of people you'll get a dog barking or something. And the nice thing with podcasting is you can edit that stuff out. D-Style Boxing says, free users have access to way too many features, in my opinion. If they don't pay, they shouldn't have the option of a lot of what I see. Well, they do have the watermark, D-Style Boxing. So they are, they have the StreamYard branding in the corner there. And we do appreciate the feedback. We appreciate the thoughts. We do want to have a product that we've never liked products that have like a free version that is like not really useful. So we want to make sure the free version of StreamYard is extremely useful and people can actually use it. And it's good. We appreciate your feedback. We respect your feedback, but we are pretty happy now that like it is in a form where people that can't afford StreamYard can still actually make live streams and get a lot of use out of the product. But there is, there are reasons to upgrade. There is the recording, there is the overlays, there is the logo. So personally, I think we're happy with it. But noted, we do appreciate the thoughts.
Yeah, it's always a balance between like, well, we want to help. We just want to like deliver as much value as we can, and then also we need to be highly sustainable, right? So we're always recalibrating and making the trade-offs.
Hector's using Buzzsprout as the podcasting platform. Good to know. Would be nice if we had a podcasting platform. Interesting. Patrick says, when you're playing a video, any chance of the host seeing a playback countdown so they know how long is left? I've struggled with this myself, Patrick, especially when it's a video that's like you're not used to seeing. Like if it's your own intro every time, it's pretty obvious when it's going to end. But yeah, this is certainly something we will think about, because I definitely understand the sort of you're watching this video, especially for your guest too, who's just like, better be smiling the whole time because I don't know when it's going to cut out. So yeah, we will address that at some point, and we appreciate the feedback.
Cool.
Justin's not an editor. Really appreciate all the feedback, guys.
Me too, Justin. Me too. It's tough.
Dan and I do not too much editing. It does take a lot of time. But if that's your thing, it is nice to be able to do that.
Definitely.
Angel Meadows downloads the audio and uploads to Anchor. Very cool. Anchor's a great platform. Let's see here. I think I missed a question. Tristan, about to turn our 6-day per week at 8 a.m. BST live stream, Breakfast in Business, I like the title, and a podcast to reach more people across more platforms. Wow, Tristan, 6 days a week. That's intense. I'd be curious. You have trouble coming up with like content? I feel like I would run out of subjects if I was going that often. I'd be curious. I guess I should just check out the show. I'll see what you stream about. But that's certainly impressive. I'd be curious how long you go for. Like
one definite benefit of live streaming, at least in my opinion, is the interaction, right? As long as you have enough viewers to be somewhat interactive, but you don't need many, as long as they're quite active in the chat. It's a lot easier to come up with content as long as people are communicating, right? Whereas if you just had to sit down 6 days a week and come up with like a recording of equal length by yourself, it's a very different thing. Now, some people are very good at that. So there's like it can definitely work. It's just, that is, I think, one benefit of live streaming. So maybe it's just a very interactive thing for them. We'd have to watch.
Principia, I won't attempt to pronounce it correctly, is watching from Brazil. Very cool. We love all our Brazilian users. Some nice feedback from April. A great editor would allow for several pieces of the video, i.e. beginning, middle, and end, to be easily identified and then pieced together. Cool. So yeah, just trying to think of what that would exactly entail. But yeah, good feedback. Any thoughts on that, Dan?
I think it's just the ability to get rid of like anything that's not essential,
and I guess be able to move parts potentially.
Yeah, like cut this section, this one, and this one, join them together, download it.
Audio level controls or some degree of makeup / compression selectable by producer for guests. Yeah, audio levels are another common one. It is something we are continuously, looking into and trying to improve. With no dates or anything for you, but we will keep you updated on that. Todd says simple scrub trimmer is all you would need. Good to know. I'm just trying to see if we got any comments on. In case you guys missed the last question, we were also asking about. Curious how many of you are using chatbots, if any. They used to be really popular, so we were curious if. And even if there's only a few of you using them, if you do use them, do you find that they're beneficial? Are you getting, do you find that it's helpful for getting people to actually watch the live streams? Justin says, why is MP4 the only video format? That's a good question. Hopefully we can add more in the future, Justin. But the reason for that is MP4 is one of the few video formats that almost every single device supports. So you'd be surprised that there's lots of formats that most devices support, but there's not very many formats that all devices support. So MP4 is just one of the most widely supported, which is why we have that. And it's also important because we have guests, right? So you want to make sure the guest is also able to see that content. Russ Johns, happy day to you as well. Chris or CHRS says, thanks, StreamYard. Just checking if you offer an NFP/charity discount for your upgrades. Thanks. We do offer discounts for charities, Chris. Just contact our support team, StreamYard.com/contact, and give them some information about your charity, and they can offer you a discount. Peter says, we also have a remote director who turns off mic and cam, and they cut the shots. Great for the host. They don't need to worry about it. Yeah, if that's especially during now that like there's more organizations getting into live streaming. That seems we usually call it co-hosting. That seems to be a very common thing that people are doing. I know it would help me, so I could actually focus on the camera and what I'm talking about, and have someone else sort of managing the content.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. Just
yeah, Dan's able to just focus.
I've got a nice co-producer right here.
Right here today. Stadia says you totally give Stadia source a shout out. Podcasting on StreamYard, we're the #1 source for Google Stadia news and reviews. Well, yeah, there you go, Stadia source. We're happy to give you a shout out.
Cool.
Tanya's using repurpose.io to convert audio to the podcast. Very cool. I've got to check in with Hanny was actually on the show probably almost a year ago, doing a demo of Repurpose. We should have him on again. That was actually a pretty popular show, and I haven't checked out Repurpose for a while, but I'd imagine they probably added some cool things since then. So maybe we should reach out to Hanny again. Rob Humphrey says, StreamYard, y'all rock. You rock, Rob. Thanks for that.
Thanks, Rob.
Wizard Studio says, love the product for inviting guests. Any way to include support with NDI products? So we don't have any direct integration with, or any direct, I should say, support for NDI. Wizard. However, if you do want to sort of add some complexity to your setup, it is possible. So you could use, something like OBS and use the virtual cam in StreamYard and then use NDI in OBS. But it does add a lot of complexity and moving parts. So who knows? NDI is certainly an interesting, for people that have no idea what NDI is, it is, I don't actually remember what the acronym stands for. I think network device something. But what it actually allows you to do is you can have cameras that are on your local network stream into, your software. So it's kind of cool if you have different, lots of different camera angles, or just a different program where you're capturing a camera and you don't want to have to deal with actually the interconnect of getting it hooked up to your computer. NDI is a cool technology for that. So yeah, who knows? Maybe in the future we can add support for something or for that, not something like that. Slido says, Bong says Slido can be a good tool to integrate with StreamYard. Thanks for that. We'll check it out. Vince says, I hope you guys can have a folder where you could have options to choose which layouts we like to use. Once we go live, then the layouts are locked in. That's interesting, Vince. I'm not sure I 100% understand. So you mean maybe some of the layouts at the bottom you don't even use at all, so you'd like to just be able to only show a few? Let us know. I'd be curious, because that does sound interesting. Or maybe you're asking about customizing the layouts. Do let us know. Cool.
Yeah, if it's something that'll make it easier for people, we're always open to it, right? That's an obsession of ours, I guess you could say. So yeah, a little more info would be good.
Chicago, that's a cool name. Nails a makeup phone-in option. Good to know. I'd be curious, Chicago. Are you doing a radio call-in show? How would you use that feature? Would be cool to know, or it would be cool to know.
Yeah, do you just have one guest one time that doesn't have a device they can come in on, or is it no, I'm doing a show where I want to post the number and have people call in, or something else?
Looks like D Styles also interested in that feature.
Cool.
Colonel says, hi, any update on uploading the GIFs from strength events? You understand that one, Dan?
I'm not sure.
Maybe if you could give us a bit more info there, Kunal. I don't know. It's the strength events part that I'm not following. A few people asking about Slido. Any plans on integrating with Slido? So no plans now. I'm not too super familiar with it, but I'll check it out since several have mentioned it. Hector says we download the audio and publish it via Anchor. Very cool. Let me see if we have any chatbot comments here. Lots of people discussing Colin. Brandon says, any possibility to add more themes to give different looks, especially on display name and banners? Yeah, that's definitely on our minds, Brandon, just because of how many. We only have 2 themes right now, and it was very popular when we added, the second theme. So it's a hard thing to balance because there's so many different things that people want. But I know people would really enjoy that. So it's certainly something that will come. Russ wants a folder for destinations as a producer. Interesting. I don't think of how exactly that would work. I guess it's just, Russ, you have like multiple clients and you want to keep their, yeah, that makes sense, I guess. You have different clients and you want to keep their destinations organized. That's useful to know. Yeah.
Got it.
Tony says bulk select for overlays, delete and upload, not one at a time. Yep, that is on the agenda. Oh, sounds like Mindful is answering a question about multi-streaming. Yes, you can multi-stream during the setup. Thanks for that. Bruce says, wish we had a pre-live polling service to capture leads and separately on-screen polling based on people giving numbers or yes or no triggers as responses. It's a cool suggestion, Bruce. I'd be curious, like, would you want it to be like an actual StreamYard URL where they would go to like, StreamYard.com/Bruce/poll or something like that? Or is it something you'd want to know, to host yourself? I'd be curious how important that aspect of it is. But yeah, I could see how that would be very, very useful. That actually is similar to the chatbot. There must not be anyone using chatbots because we haven't gotten any feedback on that one. Oh, here we go. Thanks, Kunal. Uploading the GIFs from StreamYard events. Finding it frustrating that GIFs cannot be uploaded directly on Facebook, but on Facebook they are supported. Also with drag and drop, can you please make the bigger screen on the right side as well? We want the host in the smaller screen on the left side and the larger one on the right, but it isn't possible. Yeah, appreciate the feedback there. Interesting that you want. I'll have to look into the GIFs. I did not actually know you could upload. You mean, I guess you mean as a thumbnail image. I did not know that was possible.
Yeah, didn't know that.
We'll double check. In fact, are you sure it's not just regular images, Kunal? Because we'll double check. And if it is, maybe we can add that. All right, there we go. We got a chatbot response. So yeah, we were curious to learn. Tanya lost passion for chatbots when my clients lost interest in using Messenger. Good to know. I'd be curious why. Maybe you don't know why they did lose interest in it.
Yeah. Yeah, was it like a change Facebook made, or they're just all using something else now?
And he says, could you allow the menu on the right side in the studio to be hidden and opened as needed? We'll most likely add some sort of full screen option, Denise, because I know there's some people, are working with smaller monitors, and sometimes it's nice to have a bigger view window. So appreciate the feedback there. We're just about out of time, which is too bad because there's lots of other good questions, but we'll go through them and hopefully we can touch on most of them next week. But this was a ton of fun, and we can't thank you guys enough for hanging out with us. This was episode number 86 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall, and we will be here with you next week, Sunday at the same time, 6 p.m. Pacific.
Cool. See you next week, everyone.